Okay, hello, Smars here. So, this is the second video in the making a basic comic video series in Flash. So this is the action script portion, and I'm going to try to explain it as easily as I possibly can without making it too confusing. So here we go. Uh, Basically, what we need to do is we're going to create the script, the coding that's going in that's making it actually go, actually making it run, is in the buttons. But there's also going to be another layer. We're going to use this action, this layer that we call action for the other action, that the other script that's functioning in this. But the two main ones are going to be in the back button and the forward button, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here we have the forward and the back button. So in the since it's the first layer, there's only a forward button. There's not a back button. But here we have the button, and we have our action layer. And you can go to Window and Action, and you can bring up this window, and it pops up, and there's your action window, and it'll show you, like when it's not clicked on any element with action script in it, or with the possibility, it'll look like this, and you can put action script into it. But if it's not something like a button, then it's going to, when you try to run it, it's going to give you an error message that says, oh, hey, this can't have action script. Actually, I can show you right quick what I'm talking about, so you'll know what the error looks like. I think it'll give me an error message if I put double the action script in here. It might. Yeah, see? You get an error message. Hopefully that error message picks up. I don't know if Windows and Windows show. So yeah, there's an error message, and the comic still functions, but essentially you're breaking it. So you don't want to do that. Make sure that it's in buttons. So here we go. We have this button, and in the button, the action script inside of it, it's saying on release, open bracket, go to and play, number 2, close bracket, colon, close bracket. So what that means is essentially this. When this comic is launched, when someone is reading it, and it's launching, come on, computer's a little slow. So over here on the left side, you can see there's nothing happening. There's no active element here. There's no button. So the cursor doesn't do anything. But on this side, the cursor suddenly comes alive. It activates. So that means that there's something here. There's a clickable thing here. So what happens is when you click the button and you're holding it down, it's telling it it's going to the second line, and then it's going to the third line, and it's go to and play. When you release that button, 2. And that's what this is. It's at go to and play 2, which means page 2. And that's the second frame. And then the next one would say go to and play 3, go to and play 4, go to and play 5, go to play in 6, and so on. And you can see here, go to and play 3, go to and play 4, go to and play 5, go to play 6, and that basically tells it to go all the way through. And then in the last one, I've left it blank because in the last frame, you either want it to go all the way back to the beginning, to the first frame, or you want it to just stop there. So you either leave it blank, or you'll say go to play 1, to the beginning of your comic. So beyond this, what we want to do is we're going to have to create a lock, basically, for this, because without this lock, there is, I call it a stop sign here. And what this is it's a lock that's keeping the comic from playing automatically. Because what would happen is normally the comic would just do this. It would just kind of go like that on its own. Once you launched it, it would just start playing. It just run right through. You click on one page, and it would just play through the whole thing automatically. Because of the way that that is set up, the script. So what you have to do is create locks for each of those pages. And that's why I'm saying, this is a little It's a little clunky, but it functions. It's a good function. So this lock in here, it says stop, and that tells it when you get to this page, stop. So on the first page, it stops until you tell it, until you click on the button, which would tell it now you can go to the next page. Then when it gets to the next page, stop until you click on that button. Then you can go to the next page. Then you stop, and that's what that is telling it to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to make that layer, the action layer. We're going to go ahead and rename this. We're going to we're going to call it our stop signs, just like that. They're locks or stop signs. So we're going to unlock that layer, and what we're going to do is we're just going to go in here, and we're going to do this stop space parentheses semicolon. So all lowercase, stop space parentheses semicolon. Then we just go down and make a line 2 just for the sake of making a line 2. I don't know. That's, for some odd reason, that's the way I was taught to do the particular coding for this. Even if there's nothing down there, I think it actually reads like that. So yeah, I don't know. Just kind of make it a second line. But there's nothing in that second line that I remember. No, yeah, there's nothing in the second line. So there we go. We have our stop layer. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead. We're going to go down here. We're going to right click on that frame. We're going to copy frames, and then we're going to right click again and paste frame. And we're going to do this for every single page that you have created in here. You're going to paste one of these stop signs so that your comic doesn't just go crazy. There. So now we have all our stop signs in place. And just go through and check and make sure that they're all there and all the code is there. Good. So now we're going to actually add the functionality to our buttons. So we're going to start with the forward button, and that's this one. And what we're going to do is here, bring up the action script window, and you can see the code on release, open bracket, go to and play, and then the number of the frame or the page that you're trying to get to, and then close bracket. So let's go ahead and do that. So you have to make sure that you're selecting you're clicked on the actual element. In this case, unlike this one where it's just putting it on in sort of the entire, like with the stop signs, this is capturing the entire book. It captures the entire book. But with the buttons, you need it inside of the button. The script has to go inside the button, so you have to click on the button or you're going to get an error message. So you click on the button, and we're going to go on. And then once you put the parenthesis up there, it's going to give you this list of things that you can do. And release, we're going to select release, close parentheses, and the next line is the open bracket. So enter, open bracket, enter, and then it shifts, and then we go to capital and, or capital A N D, capital P L A Y, go to and play, and that makes it active. It's, like I said, it's case sensitive. Some elements are very sensitive, and this is one. When you're giving it these command functions, it's very sensitive. So it has to be capital A N D, capital P L A Y, go to and play, space, parentheses, and then it's gonna ask you what do you want, And so in this case, we're going to put in a number, 2, and then it's going to be semicolon, go to and play, parentheses 2, close parentheses, semicolon, enter, and then we're going to close the bracket. We're going to close this function. So there, now we have it, and it's a functioning code. And what we're going to do is, now we're going to take that, and we're going to copy that frame, and then we're going to paste frame, paste frame, paste frame, paste frame. Basically, for every single page, you're going to do this in order, in order to keep from having to write the code over and over and over again. You just do that, and then all we have to do is replace this. In this case, we're going to take that out. Actually, we'll just take the whole. For the last frame, we'll just take everything out. But we're going to go back to 2. We're going to go back to our page 1, and let me move this down so you can see the page. So for page 1, let's go to and play, and it'll take us to 2. The number in there is 2, and that'll take us to page 2. And inside here, we're going to change the number to 3, and that means it'll take us to page 3. And then in here, we'll change the number to 4, and that'll take us to page 4. And then in here, we'll do 5. That'll take us to page 5. In here, change it to 6. That'll take us to 6. In here, change it to 7. That'll take us to page 7. In here, we change it to 8. That'll take us to page 8. And then in here, take it to 9. We'll change it to 9, and that will take us to page 9, our final page, which has no function in it on the buttons. And so that should allow us, you test the movie, and you shouldn't get any errors. You get a little error box that pops up if something's wrong. And if everything is right, then we should be able to test our comment. We should be able to click, and it should go to the next page, just like that. And there we go. And at the last page, even though there's a button there, it lights up, but you can't go forward. So now we're going to create a button that will go backwards. Excuse me. So we're gonna do the back button, and it's the same function, except what we're going to do is we're going to shift this 1 over, because the first page doesn't need a back button. It doesn't need a back button. You're not going backwards. This is the first page. Unless you have an element before it, like a loader, you're not going to need a button here. And we'll get into loaders in a different video. A preloader, I mean. So we're going to go ahead, and we can just go over here, and we can copy our action script from there, and we can just go in here, and we can paste. Just copy and paste. And, oh, sorry. Make sure that you're actually on the actual button and copy and paste. Otherwise, what happens is your button, it'll have the black dot like this, but it'll have the A above it. You only want that A hovering above this set. You only want that to show up in this set. With this one, it's here. It's inside the button. It's hidden. It's inside there. So with this, we'll just take it, and we're going to copy. We're just going to go through the whole thing again and paste. And it's been my experience that you have to kind of do this manually like this. You can't use like the quick buttons to paste to sort of reproduce this element with an action script in it. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe you can, and I don't know enough. And that's what I'm saying. I don't really know a lot of tricks involving Flash to know if there is a way around that. But this is the way that I know, the way that I've learned and partially been taught. So for this one, we're going to actually change the number to go backwards. We're going to go change that one to 1, and that way it goes backwards to page 1. Now we're on page, because we're on page 2. And we're going to do that for each one. We're going to go backwards 1. So this would be, we're on page 3. That's going to go to page 2. This one we're on page 4, so we would go back to page 3. This one we're on page 5, so we're going to go back to page 4. This one we're on page 6, so we're going to go back to page 5. Not 65, that's not there. We're going to go back to page 5. This one we're on page 7, so we're going to go back to page 6. This one we're on page 8, so we're going to put in here, we're going to go back to page 7. And for page 9, if you want, here, if you want people to go back, then when they reach the last page, for here, we want them to, in this one we want them to be able to go back to the previous page. So we're just gonna keep it simple and have them go back to page 8. Later on, I guess in the video where I do preloaders, I'll actually show, maybe I'll show like I'll do a video where to show like a function. Basically, you can figure it out. You can also make a function that just goes all the way back to the beginning. You just tell it to go back to the beginning. You can tell it to go all the way back to the preloader, or you can tell it to go all the way back to the first page. So that should work. Let's make sure. We'll test our movie. Make sure everything works. We're not getting any error messages yet. So everything is running in the background. All the script is running. And we can go forward, 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 forward. All the way. Oops. Oh, that was weird. All the way to the end. Sometimes it kind of does that. It gets a little wonky because I'm recording at the same time that I'm doing this, so it got a little confused and it went backwards right quick and then went forward. But yeah, okay, there. And then we're gonna go backwards. And we can go forward. All right, and we can go backwards. And yeah, there. So basically, there you have it. You have a fully functioning comic at this point. It's fully functioning. That's really the essence of a comic that I like how I do it. This is basically everything that's running in it. Beyond that, you're gonna want like I said, preloaders and stuff. Like if your page, like for this, you saw it. Like when you go and you do the test movie, you see how long it's taking for it to become active. Imagine someone having to wait this much time for your comic to show up wherever it is. If you're on like DeviantArt, then it has to pop up on DeviantArt. It's just going to be an empty blank window. It's going to be a blank window until it's active, until every element in here is loaded, the artwork and the buttons, till everything is ready. It's just going to be blank, and that's only for, this is what, 9 pages? Yeah, that's 9 pages. You can imagine if you did like 50 pages or 100 pages or 200 pages. It would take even longer for it to go, because it has to go through every single page. What it's doing is, when you launch that, it's going through every single page and checking the code. It's going, okay, the artwork is here, check. The script, check. Everything's running, check. Stop, check. And it's going through each one of these, and it's making sure everything is in place, and then it's presenting it to to the person reading it. So it's got to go through all of that first, and then the comic shows up. So a preloader basically is sort of a waiting screen. It's sort of waiting until everything is ready, and then you can launch it. You can hit a button, and it takes you to the first page. So that'll be what we're going to talk about in the next video. We're actually going to go into creating a preloader, and even, you know, going in and doing a custom preloader, customizing it and things like that. But basically, this is it. This is all you need to know. This is to make a basic comic and just get it out there and make it function. And it goes back and forth. You know, it goes from beginning to end and everything. And it's plug and play at this point. Yeah, that's it. So hopefully that helps, and hopefully it's working for you, and you've kind of understood everything. And I'm going to post the script in a text file for you to look at and study and use. And yeah, hopefully I really hope this was helpful in some way. I was really having a hard time figuring out how I was going to present this, but this is maybe it's clumsy, I don't know, but this is the way that I understand and I know and I can explain. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to email me or send me a note on DeviantArt, and I will get back to you and answer your question as soon as possible.